Colonel Fiero Magsaysay, the 7th President of the Philippine Republic from December 30, 1953 to March 17, 1957, a 5-year term. He lived in the capital of Zambales Province, and during high school, he studied at Zambales Academy and to his college, Academy of Liberal Arts, in the University of the Philippines and Jose Rizal College. He worked as a mechanic, and during World War II, his name was introduced in politics. It begins when he joined the 31st Infantry Division and was further promoted as military commander. Due to his excellency as a naval officer, he became the military governor and achieved success pertaining to his actions. His military achievements made President Rojas to promote for a congressional seat where he served 2 terms. One of his prominent works is defeating the uprising of Hukbalahap against the government by a communist group. He handled the threat against Hukbalahap guerrillas. Moreover, Magsaysay identified the main cause of movement and supported solutions with military and social reform. Both reform were used as enhancement of capabilities and supported assistance programs for the Hooks, which resulted to peace for both government and Hooks in their public image. The insurgency had been one of the factors for Ramon Magsaysay to run as president, mainly with the reason of poverty, corruption, and inferiority of the country. During his presidency, he re-established the faith and trust of the people towards government, which had significantly defined his achievements. At the beginning, he set 4 main objectives under his rule, that is to promote the national security, promote the well-being of the masses, broaden the economic development, and improve this public service. Another is President Magsaysay established a government for the people that in January 1, 1954, he opened the Malacañang publicly and even changed the Malacañang to Malacañang, the place where Magsaysay referred as House of the People. During the event, it was filled with thousands of people. The event had been one of the factors on the recognition of Magsaysay as the champion of the masses. Another achievement of President Magsaysay during his period that made him the champion of the masses is land reforms. He enacted laws mainly in expanding resources for production to rural inhabitants. He secured to improve land tenure system to achieve effective aid to tenants and small farmers and to implement community development with the means of self-support. However, President Magsaysay was not able to finish his term. He only served 4 years as a president due to a plane crash on March 17, 1957. Due to this, several assumptions with its corresponding factors created uncertainty over acknowledgement. Skepticisms have raised in the context of President Magsaysay's worthiness as the champion of the masses. It was said that Magsaysay was less active in enacting laws or reforms due to his lack of political experience. This was evident during the opposition of land reforms in legislature. According to his educational background, he did not study politics. He was a former automobile mechanic, then was later appointed to military. Moreover, President Magsaysay was also called as the America's Boy. As to his relationship with the U.S., from signing a contract to support the financial aid of the country, he aimed to stabilize the industrial situation of the Philippines, then after the Japanese colonization, which have caused several damages. In order to recover the country, he borrowed money from International Monetary Fund. However, this had introduced the beginning of Philippine debt. As mentioned by President Secretary, he borrowed $10 million for rural improvements. Senator Claro M. Recto had assumptions towards this relationship of U.S. and Philippines that he called Magsaysay a dictator and a puppet of Americans. Lastly, Magsaysay lacks in rational decision-making, aiming for drastic economic change. Negative outcomes are not considered well on making decisions in such that deficit spendings and adverse effects continued controls.
In this section, we will further evaluate or investigate the pieces of information during Ramon Magsaysay's administration. There are 4 major information that we will tackle today: the government for the people, the economic development during Ramon Magsaysay's administration, the land reform, and lastly is the national defense. First is the government for the people. The underprivileged people of the nation were the focus of Ramon Magsaysay's program. In the article of Kansas of 2016, Ramon Magsaysay hoped that the government would make their lives better. His goals are to improve the rural living, provide the poor with access to clean water, implement land reform, and distribute land to farmers and the landless, increase rural credit, and overall increase agricultural revenues. According to the article in Filipino of 2022, he created the Presidential Complaints and Action Committee or PCOC to ensure that the concerns of the general public were addressed. Second is the economic development. During Ramon Magsaysay's administration, United States helped the Philippines broadly program to help increase the economic and social growth. One of the significance of the financial aid was to recover the economic stability. According to the Official Gazette of the Philippines in 1957, projects under agriculture had benefit to this, which affects the economic production of goods, in which farm and forest production rose by 26%. And in 1953, the national income 234 million pesos. Then in 1955, it increases up to 234 million pesos. During his term, he controlled the inflationary pressures, checked the rising prices, and strengthened the fiscal and monetary policies. Next is the land reform. One of President Magsaysay's focus during his administration is to improve the sector of agriculture and land reform. To further achieve this one, a law was enacted. It is the Republic Act No. 1160 of 1955 established the National Resettlement and Rehabilitation Administration or NARA. According to the Official Gazette of 1955, this act implements free distribution of lands to the public domain, which aims to expand the production, to expand stability in agriculture, and to promote the quality of community life. The land reform during his administration effectively benefited the Filipinos from the redistribution of lands that have been given opportunities to the farmers and to their families. One of the information we will tackle is the national defense during Ramon Magsaysay's term. The administration of Magsaysay focuses on the fight against communism. According to Villacaran of 2012, to achieve the goal, Ramon Magsaysay made the Philippines a member of the Southeast Asia Treaty Organization or SEAT, which was established in Manila on September 8, 1954 during the Manila Conference.
Ramon Magsaysay's relationship with the United States is due that the Philippines was at its need after the Japanese colonization. According to an article of JSTOR, Philippines 6 years ago before Magsaysay's administration was governed by corruption, bankruptcy, and ineffectiveness. Thus, his decision to borrow money from U.S. is to accelerate and maximize the nation's social and economic development. Outcomes of plans have helped to broaden rural improvements and economic developments. Even if Magsaysay did not study politics, he has experiences as a military commander and have connections with politicians. President Rojas was even the one to appoint him in the congressional seat due that he knew that Ramon Magsaysay possesses aspects of a good leader. He has a strong desire to achieve improvements in the country, and it was evident during the insurrection of Hukbalahap. Moreover, his objective is to improve the welfare of Filipinos, that he implemented programs together with the government for the people, and it further recovered the people's trust to the government by excluding corrupt politicians, and his administration was successful, though he only served 5 years in his term. Ramon Magsaysay is indeed an effective leader. The argument that he lacks in rational decision-making that leads to negative outcomes during his administration is blathered. In the article of Kurami, it was stated that the living tribute of the late president, to be called as The Ramon Magsaysay Award was suggested by John D. Rockefeller III in a letter to Carlos Garcia just 6 weeks after Ramon Magsaysay died in an aircraft crash in March 1957. The Inquirer article of Magat, he stated that Abueva describes Magsaysay's way of governing as servant leadership. He writes that Magsaysay made people understand what politics and government and democracy could do to serve and protect them. He made meaningful such concepts as popular sovereignty, public offices as a public trust, the general welfares, human dignity, and social justice. Furthermore, in the article, it was also emphasized that Ramon Magsaysay gave people a vision of hope for working democracy and a better life for all, and especially the common people. This implies that all accused arguments questioning the worthiness of Ramon Magsaysay are blather. Therefore, Ramon Magsaysay is a great and efficient leader.
President Ramon de Magsaysay administered the Philippines with a government for the people. Even when he was appointed as the military commander, he contributes great achievements in the Philippines' history, which is undeniably benefited the society back then and today. He earned the trust of the Filipino during his term, which gave him the recognition of the champion of the masses. His personal attributes is a perfect example of a good leader, a pro-people president who is considerable and a great listener to the common people. Today, the relevance of President Magsaysay's worthiness as a leader have give a positive perspective to the Filipino to choose a president that will hear their voices and understand their situation. Improvements will indeed occur if the government plans with the action that begins with the individual development.